There we are. Creatives, community, kind folks, and of course, classmates and collegiates. Thank you very much for joining me. This, of course, is RPG with DBJ, and I am your host, DBJ. We are not, well, we're simulcasting, maybe tri-casting, what have you. We're going live here on YouTube, of course, live streaming, and we are also streaming live from the boiler room over at Fantasy Grounds College. If you join the Discord, Fantasy Grounds College, you can just slide down at the bottom. You will see the special rooms, and so we're pulling up a chair, having some fun, talking about all things gaming, tabletop RPGs. Now, what do we do here? Well, we talk about a theme, and that theme stretches all week. This week is mysteries, mysteries and deceptions and lies and some hidden knowledge and unexplained phenomena and that kind of thing. And each day we subdivide it, and today is Future Friday. Of course, we have Monster Monday, kind of a Discord Tuesday, World Building Wednesday, Third Pillar Thursday, one of my favorites, and then of course Future Friday, which also is my favorite. Future Friday actually represents like our modern age into science fiction. So let's jump on in. Mysteries in science fiction. Well, it's actually quite a popular trope, despite the fact that science fiction tends to be, since we tend to embrace the science of things, the science of gravity, the science of biology, and those kind of things. Well, there's lots of mystery. The first thing that comes to mind in science fiction is the proverbial ancient artifact trope, and the idea of coming across something that is unknown, and we don't know where it comes from. It's probably created or designed with elements that are unable to be replicated by current science. We don't know how old it is. We don't know how it's powered. It can be undetectable, yada, 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 right? And we can expand out the ancient artifact to we found an ancient life form. We found a virus. We detect an energy source, et cetera, et cetera. And it's usually the importance is not, and the mystery is not what it's made of. Let's say they find a perfect sphere where no sensors can penetrate it. They find an energy source that has never been detected before. They find an ancient life form that they've put into a tube, and they don't know where it's ever come from. It has no classification. Usually that part of it, the mystery, the origins, are not very important. Okay. Ricker's saying, nope, nope, nope. Usually that part of it isn't important when it comes to the engagement in it. The important thing comes from its interaction with the people trying to discover what it is. So, for example, maybe the giant sphere puts everyone into a dream realm, or the ancient artifact brings about your subconscious thoughts for good or bad, or the unknown life form wants to grow from UV light and absorb life around it and kill people or something, right? It's so the dangers and the horrors and the exploration of it is usually the side effects of whatever this thing is, but the actual mystery of its complete origins. What is the monolith made of? Yeah, Rickard says, mystery unknown life form in a glass tube. Do you want to get a chest burster? Because that's how you get a chest burster. You're absolutely right. There's a little bit of shall we say, idiocy amongst the brilliant people that are supposed to be investigating some of these things, because what's the latest movies that seems to come to mind, or intellectual property, which is a movie called Life, where they bring the unknown life form onto the space station, and they see their mate, their coworker, their other scientists is being ravaged by this thing, and one person's like, "Open the door for him," and the other one's like, "Keep the door closed," and and you're like, "Yeah, that's how you get chest bursters." Like catching a cold, right? What is that thing? I don't know. It opened up. Let me put my face over top of it and see what's on the inside. Yeah. Oh no, something jumped out that looks like a hand with a long tail and male and female genitalia in the middle of it, sucked to his face. I don't know. Let's take him back on board and let it gestate inside of his stomach. I don't. And anyway, but you get the point, right? The xenomorph itself is a mystery. Where did it come from? Why does it exist? Why does it do what it does? We don't know. What we do know is that it does a thing. It kills. It procreates. It has a it is as similar to a biological function as we can get to wanting to extend its own life, but but we sure as heck don't know some of the origins of it. What those kind of things. And Rickard says, it surprises me that humans in sci-fi movies aren't more genre savvy, given how many years of education we have had by previous sci-fi movies. Yeah, you know what? I absolutely agree with you on that. Similar to characters in movies seem to understand what vampires are, right? Characters in the movies will be self-referential with, oh, aren't vampires allergic to garlic and holy symbols? I'm going to go to a store and buy every single religious holy symbol and wear them around my neck, right? I mean, that's a thing. Like you said, you would think in the future in these sci-fi movies that they themselves wouldn't reference their own science fiction tropes to themselves as brilliant scientists, but whatever. Uh, hey, in the age of robots, I don't think they'd be touching anything for years before that happened. But again, another mystery are, okay, warp engines. Do we really know how warp engines work? Well, there's some science. I mean, in real life, we have scientific theory, but I mean, they work because they work, right? It's the side effects of how they work. Do they need energy? Yes. Do you need to use navigation? Sure. Um, how does a how does Oh wow, it just went right out of my mind. How does a Stargate work? Right? I mean, is there a scientific background to a Stargate? I mean, there's theory involved in it, but all we know is you need a code to get to a certain location, and if we can find the code to get to the place, we can do it. And as we know, how fast does warp travel work, or how fast does hyperspace work, or whatever you want to call it, wormhole technology? Well, it kind of works as fast as plot, right? You move at the speed of plot, and sure, in your setting, you could establish, okay, this is exactly how long something takes. This is exactly what it looks like if you were standing on the outside skin of a starship when you're going through warp space or what have you. But how does it work exactly? Yeah, we don't know, but we know that it does work. And that's really all we need to know. Science fiction, of course, when from our modern interpretations of mysteries out into science fiction, of course, the idea is that our attempts are to explain the mysteries using science and getting to the point where, sure, we do have the issue of, well, maybe something is just unexplainable. Yeah, we've got that. Uh, and that sometimes can be part of the story, but there's also the idea of applying science to at least mitigate some of the dangers involved in what we're encountering. If you're in a starship and there's a strange energy field in that nebula, Okay, and then they start to use some of their science. Well, uh, we've got radar. What does that show? It's not showing much. Okay, let's scan for biological life. Not getting biological life, but that doesn't mean anything. Send out a signal and try to communicate with something inside of it. Put up the force fields and force shields or deflector shields and whatnot to protect ourselves, and so on and so forth. And little by little, our scientific tools and experiments help us to at least discover some of the side effects of what this mysterious thing might be. But again, it might be so mysterious that we don't understand its imperative. Is there intelligence behind it? Is it literally the trash of ancient civilization? Are we the food of this life form or something? Ricker says, Scientist A, we found this mysterious life form floating around Jupiter. Scientist B, so wait, they brought it here for studying? The thing from Alpha Gamma Tau? Much? Yeah. Scientists say it. Well, hazard pay is good. Yeah. The unknown thing is always wrapped up, bottled, and placed inside of a ship, and then we're just going to put the minimal amount of detection equipment around it, and of course we're going to get the scientist that likes to has like narcolepsy, always falling asleep at the controls, and have them watch it overnight, right? That seems to always be the case. Like, oh man, this thing is dangerous. I think I'm going to watch it. What? It disappeared. I didn't notice it. Dead Man the Storyteller says, they work because they open a portal to the warp where demons reside, and then the ship flies faster than reality. Warhammer 40K explanation. Exactly, right? I mean, are you going to another dimension? Is there something else in this other dimension? If you go through the wormhole, are there literally things out there that if you look at them, you will draw them towards you? Sure. In your world, in your fantasy, in your fictional science fiction world, if that's how it works, of course that's how it works. Who's to say? But the embracing the idea that the players just don't know how it works. We've been able to get warp travel. The rest, you might want to stay in stasis because there are things out there you just don't want to see, right? We've heard and seen those kinds of explanations before. As a matter of fact, let's backtrack a little bit into our modern day. A lot of horror movies and what I guess we can classify as near sci-fi, meaning it's always a few years ahead of us, but it's this undefined 5, 10 year, 15 year, just a little bit ahead of our time idea in our modern day. We do have the idea of traveling to our deep oceans or discovering that ancient man and myth, there's something real about it. So it was somewhat unexplained before, but we've brought it into reality, and we have brought it into our modern day. For example, there are many times where vampires, for example, in ancient time, they're vampires and they're mysterious and they are near mythological. They are half man, half bestial, half spiritual thing. But then in our modern day, we go, oh, well, ancient man that knew about vampires, they're actually hemophages. They're missing something in their hemoglobin that gives them a desire for blood, and also they have no melanin in their skin, and so they suffer greatly from UV radiation. Right? It's our taking our scientific elements we know today and making those the explanations for the mysteries of the past, and then still having those things like, well, that might be true for vampires, but you're still not explaining how they they mind control wolves and turn into a bat or mist or something, right? Or you look into their eyes and you're hypnotized. Like that doesn't explain science doesn't explain that part of it. So yes, some things we can defend ourselves with science. Maybe there are some other things that we cannot. And embracing the mystery, having us as world creators, us as, bringing about in the future the idea that vampires, this is an example, vampires and werewolves or something, lycanthropy, is that a real disease? Well, maybe in this modern age, it is a real thing. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, was this a real thing, or was it just a story? Well, maybe someone did come up with a concoction that turns you into a raving mad individual or something with vast strength and endurance. And how did it come about? Were these Victorian era steampunk Victorian punk people really able to do these things? Well, yeah. Invisible Man, maybe not, but we're embracing it, right? It's the Rickard says you basically take Clarke's third law and make it a basis for a plot. Oh yeah, it is absolutely true what you're saying, that the Clarke's third law is the basis for a plot, in the idea of any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, right? Finding the ancient artifact, the perfect sphere, the cube, the downloading a alien signal that has mathematical formula that we have never seen before, hearing a sound that comes through that's downloaded, and you hear a sound of maybe an alien speech that maybe affects the mind or something. It's we don't really know what it is or where it came from. Now, of course, as the PCs go along through the plot, they may uncover little bits and pieces. Oh, there was an alien war. Oh, okay. This alien civilization disappeared. I wonder why. And so you're giving little hints and bits and pieces of the mystery of why this thing is left here. But again, much like maybe a terribly executed movie, Prometheus attempted to give us some insight into where the xenomorphs come from, say in the Alien franchise, but didn't explain it, didn't lay it out with subtitles and graphs and pictures. It's like, we're just going to give you a little bit of information. You're going to have to extrapolate it yourself. Dead Man the Storyteller says Hellraiser in space. Don't remember exactly which iteration it was. I don't remember which one. But again, Hellraiser. Is there really an explanation for Hellraiser? Nah, just what is it? Pain and pleasure, I think, is their mantra. I always liked the Hellraiser guys, the Pinhead and the rest of them, Chatterbox. I can't remember all their names, but they had some of the best costumes and potential, and just went downhill, man. Rickard Johansson says the Valkyries of Old Norse myth were aliens recruiting warriors for a galactic war. That's the thing too. The ancient Vikings, ancient Egyptian aliens. There's whole television shows dedicated, I believe, on History Channel, of ancient aliens, and that very much may be a thing. Zev says vampires and werewolves and owlbears. Oh my, absolutely. And I find that embracing mystery, and that's really the whole point of us talking this week, that I feel like we can get away with not explaining everything in our genres, and yet still, I believe the only thing we really need to explain and be consistent with, and of course be above board, is that the side effects of what the PCs encounter should be consistent, right? Going to the alien xenomorph, if the PCs discover an egg and it opens up, and a face hugger jumps out, then that should be a repeatable encounter. Maybe another PC goes over to an egg and it starts to open up, and we go, "Oh, listen, you need to step back away from the alien egg because the face hugger is going to run across the ground and try to choke you and shove its genitalia down your throat." Right? So those things should be repeatable. What exactly a face hugger is? Okay, we don't know that. Where the eggs came from, we don't know that. Why the aliens are uh, instinctually adaptable, we don't know these things. And and not needing to give the players an explanation for it may be a thing, right? Zevron says, imagine the war against the Aesir and the Vanir, the Norse gods, against the frost giants is real, and they recruit mortals who prove themselves in battle. Again, we don't have to explain why there's a war. Not necessarily. We don't even have to explain where, like you're saying, like the Valkyries, where they came from. Even so far as to take, okay, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. When Thor showed up, Thor said, "Well, it's not magic; it's just science, but it's so advanced that it looks like magic to you." Done. One line of dialogue, done, explained. And then of course in our heads we're scratching like, wait a minute. Odin grabs the hammer and whispers something into it, and then some kind of Celtic knot appears on the side of the hammer, and then he moves it away. And wait, what? That's not, is that technology? Is it not? Doesn't matter, right? We have an explanation. It's technology and it looks like magic. We're an alien race and we seem magical and godlike. Now, of course, you could make the argument that Marvel has kind of embraced the fact that Thor and Odin and the rest of them are gods. I believe they've even mentioned it. You're not the god of hammers, you're the god of storms, right? And so yes, that could maybe they've retconned their own selves, which we can retcon that. It happens all the time. But we don't really explain how the hammer works. We just know that it does, and that's all we need. um, Dead Man Storyteller says Sci-Fi had a series a couple of years ago called Metal Hurlant Chronicles that touched on that. Oh, Valkyries and the war, I guess you're talking about. I don't remember that one from Sci-Fi. I used to watch that channel all the time. Rickard says, hell, you could have it be that we learned that that's why the Valkyries showed up in old myth, but find hints of a war, but we don't know the outcome and why the Valkyries stopped coming. Tesla says it's French. It's Hurlant. Did not know that. Hurlant. Yeah, that's terrible dead space in our English, in my English language, right? Hurlant Chronicles. But the idea of ancient aliens, I think, is something that's been embraced quite a bit. I have a role-playing game based on the ancient alien idea, and the idea that there really is a planet X, and every 10,000 years the planet comes within close to the orbit of Earth, and that the ancient aliens are like Egyptian themed because they've come here before and they're here to recruit warriors and slaves and teach people magic, and of course, more slaves in the upcoming battles and such. And why not have flying horses, and no explanation for why there's flying horses? Are they Pegasus? Well, Pegasi, sure. Were they created genetically? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe it's the most efficient way to get around the landscape in this great war or something, including the Rainbow Bridge. We don't have to explain the Rainbow Bridge and the fact that is this extra dimensional highway of sorts. It just is. Now, flowing into some other mysteries that we can pull on and embrace in science fiction. Because again, I talked about the ancient artifact, whatever it is, whether it's a dead ship, a monolith, a sphere, ancient code, an ancient sound, or something of that nature. There's also the idea that uh, some of the mysteries are are not about what we've discovered, but basically are a reflection of ourselves. So very much it's like the lessons of humanity that we've taken into space, and maybe some of the lessons we haven't learned. And the idea of dreamscapes and our own nightmares coming alive is a vast trope. And maybe aliens trying to communicate with us that are so far above us that the only references they have are our own conscious and subconscious. Zevron says aliens come back after 10,000 years. Hey guys, how are y'all doing? What the hell? Uh, all we told you to do was revere us and plant crops. What the hell is mustard gas? Why are y'all like this? Yeah. It says it's come back after 10,000 years. Yeah, hell yeah. Tesla Ranger says, should have hired a babysitter. Yep, exactly. Maybe the ancient aliens are like, yeah, we brought you peace and prosperity. Take these seeds and plant them in the ground, and you will make a vast paradise. And they come back and they're like, nuclear technology? What? We weren't expecting that. But again, what a great way for to reverse the trope of the mystery, that the ancient aliens come to us again, and they're looking at us and we are mysterious to them. We even have the mystery of of intellectual properties like oh, District 9 or Alien Nation or Independence Day and such. I mean, are the aliens coming to invade Earth? Yes. All right. Well, that's all we need. Now all we need to do is be rebels in a war against the aliens that are trying to take over the Earth, and we're trying to kick them off our planet. You stupid bugs or something, right? What planet they came from, what their ultimate goal is. Oh, it's just to take over the Earth. And then there's some vague, we're taking over the Earth because we need your resources, or we want to terraform your planet so that it's more adaptable to us, or whatever vague, uh, un, vague, undescribed reason why there's an alien invasion. It doesn't matter. It's the mystery. The mystery is the side effect. I mean, is in the background. Players trying to struggle against a world taken over by a horde of other big and nasty beasts is really the point. Zev says maybe they did, but he was all. But maybe they did, but he was all burn and salt their fields. Hear the lamentations and their women, the whole shtick. True. The lamentations of the women. I love Conan. Um, but but again, maybe uh, some of the mystery might be the machinations of whatever interaction we have with aliens. And by the way, there is a trope of us discovering ancient alien craft, or what's the big upcoming event that everyone wants to march towards Area 51 and uncover what was in Area 51 in the Nevada desert because aliens have landed here before. That was the plot of one of the Predator movies, where they found temples and a commonality amongst ancient peoples and temples, and come to find out that there's an ancient temple in the Antarctic, or maybe it was the Arctic Circle. No, I think it was Antarctica, and there are predators down there. No, Yes, there's a temple with predators down there, and they train their young predators in the warrior arts by releasing an alien and such. And of course, human beings go down there, and hilarity ensues. But the reasons why can be very vague. And if you need to, if the PCs are really scrambling for the whys, you can drop little hints. You can drop hints by flavoring the hints with, well, we've posited, some people believe, um, it is our thought that, but we're not certain. We found messages that claim that the aliens blank blank blank. Um, we've discovered this ancient technology, and we believe it is for the purpose of, or we've received an ancient alien code, and it's given us the technology to create a warp field or wormhole or something. And of course, you have everyone's all the people talking to each other. Should we build this thing? Maybe it's to open a portal so they can come to us and take us over. And someone else is like, no, we need to do it. Why would they give it to us? Why wouldn't they just open a portal immediately? And you can have the proverbial scientists arguing amongst themselves, so that even if the PCs get their answer, it's a non-answer. You hear what I'm saying? Also, hey, Crackbone. Zevron says a mystery. Maybe. It says, why couldn't the aliens from signs open wooden doors despite figuring out faster than light travel? Also, why did they go to a planet covered in over 60% water despite being burned by it? Yeah, yeah. The revealed mystery again. The revealed mystery just was like, bump, 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 wah, wah. The execution of it was actually pretty good. The cinematography, let me say that, was very good for the movie. But yeah, ancient aliens burned by water on a planet that's well over 60%, whatever. but again, embracing the idea of mystery, I think works much like the original Predators movie was filled with a lot of mystery, right? You have this alien predator, and they're hunting human beings. Where did they come from? We don't know. Do they have a name? We don't know. What's their language? We don't know. What do they get out of the hunting? Well, we don't know that, but our minds, we human beings, and so many of us are quite brilliant in the tabletop role-playing community. We fill in the gaps because we know so many tropes, and the idea of embracing those tropes means that we fill in the gaps. If someone could could answer for Crackbone, like in the idea of why they're muted. Yeah, basically because everyone would be in my ear. We're also live streaming on YouTube at the moment. My channel is above in the DBJ chat. Oh yeah. Yeah, so I'm also streaming on YouTube simultaneously. There's a simulcast. Zevron says, I liked Predators. The idea of the greatest killers of Earth being kidnapped and used as a game for the super predators while also competing against lesser predators. It made you wonder what the difference between the elites and the lower ones. And again, PCs get dropped on Alien World. PCs don't know why they're on Alien World. Even their backgrounds. Remember, we kind of got a hint as to the backgrounds. Like, one's a killer, one's a criminal, one's a big game hunter. One's a murderer, one's a serial killer. Like you, little by little, the mystery of even the PCs themselves becomes a thing, right? Sometimes Crackbone, I don't know who I am. Yeah, I apologize. Yep, one was a mercenary, a soldier. Each of them having their own backgrounds. And I know this doesn't have anything to do with mystery, but that's also a great way to have a unified theme when characters are coming up with who they want to play. Yeah, one was Yakuza. That was the one that was walking around barefoot, and no one understood why he was barefoot, right? So so a unified theme, for example, if you wanted to surprise your players, you can say, "Listen, everybody, I want everyone to make up a character, but definitely make up someone who's good with like a killer, with weapons or something. You could make up a criminal or a soldier, but you have a dark background. So there's something about you that makes you not fit into normal society because of the violence that you're able to create." And everyone's like, "Sure, okay, I'll make a character like that." And then you surprise them by dropping them on an alien world, and then they discover, like, why are we together again? Because we don't know each other and we have no relationship to each other. And you realize what's going on. Yeah, and then by the way, those of you who you guys know that you're unable to post a lot of things in the YouTube chat, especially things like links or long extended if you want you are limited by what you can post, but of course you can post in the Fantasy Grounds Discord. So posted in the Discord, normal mystery tropes that is common plots for sci-fi. Rickard says ancient aliens such as creatures like werewolves, or ancient artifacts like Excalibur, or ancient places like Atlantis. Yep. The ancient alien trope. There's also the ancient observatory trope, which are an old alien base on Mars. So it could be that we are traveling somewhere, but there's an ancient alien observation location. So we're brand new. We go out into space and we realize, wait, somebody built something here. There's the unknown life form study from like Alien or The Expanse. Yeah, there's the we thought there was no life on this asteroid, planet, gas giant, colonized world or something. Oh, it's an alien life form. Let's study it. We don't know what it is. And then, of course, someone zaps it with electricity, or it smells the tasty goodness inside of your internal organs and wants to eat itself, gluttonize itself inside of you. Yeah. And then there's a fourth trope: aliens trying to contact us, such as the movie Contact and Arrival. Yeah, I was going to bring up Arrival. Thank you for reminding me about that. And of course, the movie, like you said, the movie Contact. In the movie Contact, it began with an alien signal. And the alien signal gave us a mathematical formula that they were able to design into an alien craft that we would be able to contact them and travel into space and such. And thank you for the role play. Imagination Creation Station Nation. We are the imagination, aren't we? And a fifth trope, mystery trope for sci-fi, is cosmic phenomena, such as strange things happening without explanation. Interstellar wormholes, as an example. Yeah, we detect a strange energy source. We detect something in this nebula. We detect a binary star, and there's radiation coming from it. Yep, the black hole event horizons. Yep, exactly. What do we found life in a place where there shouldn't be life, or we found a dead space, a safe dead space in a place that normally doesn't have one, such as around the event horizon of a black hole, or a safe location inside of a giant nebula with some kind of energy arcing through it, or deadly radiation or something of that nature. And those are the reasons why something exists there. Maybe that's not the important part. Maybe we just find something there. Much of Star Trek, or at least much of the original tropes of the various Star Trek shows, are about the exploration crew going to a location and discovering that there is something there that they don't understand, and an alien race that doesn't, and we're trying to talk with them, an alien signal, and we don't understand what's going on. And of course, those things might be the, the energy, the unknown energy might be affecting people's minds and controlling them. It could be the energy fluctuations are draining the power cells, and we need to get out of here before we're stuck here forever, along with these other dead ships in space. And of course, maybe you find an ancient crew that's on another ship where their energy is dead, and the only, maybe there's some backstabbing because the only way they can escape is to steal the last energy reserves of the PCs, who are on minimum energy because they need to figure out their way to get out, and so on and so forth. You have this additional plot. I would even suggest that one mysterious plot in science fiction is the usurper, the being that looks like everyone else, and there is someone who is working against the rest of the crew. Whether it is an alien that has taken the shape of someone, it is an alien pod has infiltrated the brain stem of something. Yep, Ricker says the thing. Yeah, now mind you, that goes along the tropes that you posted, right? The unknown alien, but I think it also embraces the the fear is, it adds to the horror fear that something we don't know looks just like us and is layered on top of the alien life form, so that maybe the alien life form is trying to invade Earth and wants to take our ship and become one of our crew and go back to Earth, let's say, or to the nearest habitable station. Maybe the alien wants to steal our codes for our ship, to take down the defenses so that it could land on a habitat or on Earth without being noticed. Maybe it's trying to recruit and expand its infect everyone with its alien spores, and can only do it slowly and surely through some kind of pseudo psychological sexual interaction with other members of the crew. Maybe uh, the idea that there's someone on the crew working against everyone else. Maybe someone's insane, driven insane by looking deep into what's on the other side of a black hole and such. Yeah. Zevran says, I love the idea that players come across Atlantis. Everyone can play piece. Everyone can place bits and pieces of different languages, from symbols, bits of Elvish, Common, and Aquan, and uh, uh, Zevron continues to say they see the city delve deep into the ocean with a magic dome around it, but the people are still missing. What happened? Where are they? Exactly. And of course, there's always the ancient, why did Atlantis sink? Right? Oh, it was because of their own hubris, or it sank because of playing with ancient technologies, or offending the gods, or any fill in the blank, right? And are the ancient Atlanteans still alive? Are they dead? Where did they go? Did they mutate? Are they water breathers now that they live in the deep ocean? Um, are they an extremely corrupting force and should have been left down in a dome in the deep ocean because that's where they should be? Have they been worshiping the elder gods, a la Cthulhu mythos? Yog Sothoth is one of their patron saints or something. Infinite Roleplay says real world mystery just discover cold world tectonics. Or yeah. Something is uncovered because of a natural phenomenon, an earthquake, a volcano, a major storm, rising / lowering tides have revealed something we've never seen before. It is a trope as well for mysteries. And why was it revealed? We don't know. Ricker says, bring out the flamethrower. Sorry, Steve. I don't know you. I don't know you are not the thing lurking about, but at least you'll get a free cremation. Yeah. Oh, the thing. Oh, what a great. Yeah. Every person backstabbing the other person. Yeah. Oh man. Infinite Roleplay says mysteries. If you look into something called spirit science, you can pull some cool things from that. I guess you mean like, um, oh, why my mind went blank. People who try to use science to look into the existence of ghosts and spirits, I'm assuming, which is a trope as well. It's a modern day mystery of tropes where we ourselves fill in the blank of the restless spirits, you know, are in and out, in and about, and if we can just discover them using technology to discover where the ghosts are and what they need, maybe we can rest their spirits because of something else. As a matter of fact, in a strange way, we talked yesterday about the Netflix movie Spectral, which is kind of the modern day take on the modern day science fiction version of ancient spirits being restless and being violent, and why they're being violent, and how technology has turned these people into these restless spirits that can kill you when they touch you, much like banshees or something, which is a scientific spin on the same thing. Zev says, I now have the image of the thing lighting a candle lit dinner to trying to simulate the crew, lovingly serenaded by Marvin Gaye. Oh, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Let's make love tonight. You know, the crew is just like, what? What? Come on, guys, everybody sit down. Let's relax, have a seat. Baby, I'm hot just like an oven. I'm gonna get dinged by YouTube if I keep doing that. Infinite Roleplay says, no, it's actually called spirit science. It goes into the spirituality of the procession of the equinox, perceptions, dimensions, and the tree of life. Interesting and inspiring stuff. um, Again, mixing, because Zev's a huge fan of like Ravnica and the idea of the tropes of Dungeons and Dragons, which is not a bad thing. But in many ways, even Dungeons and Dragons kind of flows into science fiction, right? They've got like vague references to clockwork things and clockwork beings and steampunk and alchemy and that kind of thing. And even worlds like Eberron and Ravnica and Spelljammer are pseudo scientific. Sam says, I love cyberpunk, Egyptology, political intrigue, etc. Yeah, you are our resident Egyptologist as well, which brings up the ancient aliens thing. But Infinite Roleplay talking about the spirit science, itself is a mystery. You know, whether you're dealing with the combinations of the external spiritual world and how it relates to our internal spiritual world, whether we're dealing with our chakras or our chi or using mudras and things. And you could really pull on those ancient ways of dealing and explaining the universe in a modern styled setting. And of course, when we say modern and science fiction, it's also the idea that we understand the predictability of how things work in the world, even if it's not scientifically proven in our real world, right? So an example would be if you are okay. You are able to communicate with these spiritual beings if you yourself are calm and go into a meditative state. Okay, there's no scientific reason for proving that, but it could be a repeatable ability. If you go into a meditative state, you go to this one place, maybe on the equinox, or you're in a certain stance or mudra or yoga position or something, that you are able to pierce the spirit world and speak to these other spirits. And if it's repeatable, technically you could say that it is a science. It is something that is repeated over and over again. Very much magic, in at least along the PCs, is very repeatable. I cast magic missile. Okay, it's repeatable. I cast a light spell. It's repeatable. And that's where Ravnica and Eberron kind of base their setting on. These repeatable abilities are able to expand in the world and change the way people live their lives. So taking a shower under a storm cloud, a little bit of soft rain, a little wind to cool you off, uh, a little a little bolt of shocking lightning to wake you up in the morning might be the way you get ready for your day, right? It's repeatable, and so therefore those things could be classified as science, and then using those repeatable abilities, my magic missile and light spell, for example, to go out into the unknown world. And such. Infinite says, "Ooh, the Indian book, the Mahabharata, the Mahabharata. Damn, I butchered that word. Sorry. Has a bunch of stuff that can be used using your sci-fi. Spirit science goes into some Egyptian myths too. I think I agree with that. Zevron says, to be fair, in some worlds, magic is a replacement for science. Formulae, hypotheses, experiments, apprentices, students. I absolutely agree with you. As a matter of fact, alchemy, apothecaries, herbalists are, I think, extremely close to both ancient and modern day science because they're both very similar, right? An herbalist in ancient day and an herbalist today use the same techniques to bring about the same effects. As a matter of fact, I have an aloe plant. My wife got an aloe plant, but we have an aloe plant in our window in the kitchen. And if you cut a leaf off an aloe plant, it has aloe inside of it, a little moist, thick thing that helps heal burns and abrasions and such. It's a real thing. And someone in the ancient past discovered it, and it exists until today. Even today, people use acupuncture and massage therapy and aromatherapy and meditation, and yoga is a real thing today. And now some people might consider it a placebo. Hey, if you believe it works, it will work. Some people believe that. Others will say, no, it's a real thing. It actually does work. And modern medicine is starting to embrace the idea of what it considered to be hocus pocus in the past. Now today, doctors are saying, listen, maybe you should try meditation. Maybe you should try these things, because they have found that there is a physical change in people that believe in the things that will help them. It sounds like whatever. I'm coming across like I'm saying that those things aren't real, but for the people that say it's real, it is real. I don't have any personal experience with it. Maybe that's a better descriptor. Infinite Roleplay says they believe that the pyramids were built upside down in a higher dimension before being brought to this level of perception. Ooh, what a great way. That's a great opening for the mystery of the creation of and the reason for the pyramids and the Sphinx is still out there, right? People are still trying to figure out how did they carve and haul stones that are so close together you cannot get a razor blade between them. The same goes for Stonehenge. Same thing goes for that. Infinite Roleplay says, well, alchemy was a precursor to modern chemistry. Exactly. Absolutely. Zevron says, besides, if you show some things to people, science is hard to differentiate between magic, such as sodium can catch fire on water, making it look like water is on fire. Hell, I used to make ice cream as a kid with the big bucket, and you turn the handle, and the idea that salt that melts ice, because you fill the outside you fill the outside with a bunch of ice, and then you take rock salt. You could take table salt, but you take rock salt and you fill it, and you start to turn the cream, and the ice is both melting and getting colder. I mean, that's a strange thing. What's the other one? The volcano experiment. you put the two chemicals together and it explodes into like a foam. There's all kinds of chemical reactions, and ancient people use that as magic. The idea of taking a crystal and creating a prism from it, or using a glass using a glass disc or lens to start a fire, right? Is it baking soda? Yeah, baking soda and vinegar. Yeah, that's the one. That's right. Infinite says, "Oh my God, I just read that you can melt a pearl with vinegar. I didn't know that. I see. We learn something all the time, and combine enough of those things, and you would be a mage in the ancient world. And who's to say that ancient aliens did not help modern man create those or study those things, or that ancient aliens come back here and they're using what we would consider ancient formulae to do certain things?" Deadman posted in the Discord, uh, the Mahabharata is one of the two major Sanskrit epics of ancient India, the other being the Ramayana. It narrates the struggle between the two groups of cousins. Those are some great stories of ancient Indian mythology. Those are some great stories, and I cannot remember all of them. I just remember them. I remember chariots and firing arrows that were like lit on fire by dipping them into the sun and stuff. Oh, man. Anyway, guys, by the way, go over to the Discord and look that up. Thank you, Deadman, for putting that in there. Yeah, Deadman says I linked the first two paragraphs of the Mahabharata in the Discord. Rickard said vinegar is a strong acid. Zevron says vinegar is a strong acid. And Rickard says, or you could just get some chlorine trifluoride and let the water actually catch fire. Wow. Zevron says it can eat a steel girder with enough of it in time. Ooh. Oh, dead man! Thank goodness I'm not the only nerd. Yeah, we are all part of the geekosphere. It's no problem. So we've come to the hour mark. I'm glad Deadman put that in there. Always bringing the knowledge, because I am the nexus for those things that are unknown, and we can all learn a little something. But I just wanted to talk about this week the fact that we don't need to explain everything. What I believe we do owe our players into our world are consistent side effects. If I poke this thing, what happens? Well, poking it causes it to explode or eat you or catch fire or something, right? Okay, going back to what you guys are talking about, how you can actually have water catch fire, right? On the surface, it doesn't make sense that the surface of a natural spring, let's say, or something, catches fire. But as long as that is a consistent element in the world, it makes perfect sense. Now, is there a scientific reason for it happening? Yes. Does there need to be a scientific reason for it happening? No. But could there be an explanation for why the waterways in your world have caught fire and they're burning on their surface? You don't need to explain it. The fact that it's consistent, yes. And the reason why it's there, maybe it's a mystery. Sure. Yes, I do believe that we should be consistent. Remember we brought up the idea of cutting the arm off of a troll and then two arms grow back, or you cut off its head or chop into its neck and then another head grows out of the wound. Are we breaking the trope of what a troll is? Sure. Have the PCs use their own head canon to say it's a troll, but you described it looking like a troll. You never said it was a troll, but the PCs have assumed it was a troll. Yeah, that's a possibility. It might be a little bit of a gotcha, but again, as long as you're consistent with it, I think you're fine. But explaining why, I don't think you need to explain why, because most games don't really explain why, right? There's no biological reason why dwarves and trolls and dragons and other sentient species all exist in the same world. We just accept it and then we move on. Um, Infinite says, I'm not going to explain how, but you guys know how to make make backyard napalm. Yeah, that can be seen as a mystery to those that don't know. Yeah, yeah. Please don't post a link to making backyard napalm. Certain entities will probably go, I don't think they're talking about role playing. I think that's code for like some kind of a anarchist or something. But again, guys, thank you very much. If it's like, no, 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 no. Yeah, please don't do it. Anyway, just as a reminder, of course, you guys know that we broadcast, we simulcast both on YouTube and in Fantasy Grounds College Boiler Room. If you're unfamiliar with how to use Fantasy Grounds and you're interested in it, go over to Fantasy Grounds College and go to their website, look for a class, and join their Discord group. And pop on into some of the Discord chats, talk to people, introduce yourself. They will teach you the steep learning curve that it takes to learn Fantasy Grounds, and then you can get to using it. Also, for those who don't know, we have become a podcast. So these live streams will be available on SoundCloud, and along with that, I'm going to open up a email, so people who want to are limited both by posting in the Discord or posting in the live chats, or basically completely unable to participate. I will be able to take email. And I'll maybe read some email questions or comments or things like that. So people who really want to participate but can't will be able to do that. Dead Minotaur Storyteller says, there are more than a dozen different versions of the Anarchist Cookbook online that you can search for. Yes, the Anarchist Cookbook did it come out in like the mid 70s, early 70s or something? Yeah, if it's like, no, dude. Yeah, please. Yeah, the Anarchist Cookbook. Oh man. GURPS. Oh, that's right. For those who don't know, yeah, Tesla's got to be like my age, where Steve Jackson Games. We'll end it on this. A little bit of trivia for you guys, for the RPG community. I know we talk about Dungeons and Dragons and WotC and Wizards of the Coast, and TSR and their goings on. But for those who don't know, Steve Jackson Games wrote and did study for the book Cyberpunk. And there was a delay in the release of the book Cyberpunk. The reason it was delayed is because the FBI and I believe the NSA went into their offices and confiscated their work because they were doing research on designing the Cyberpunk book. And in their research, mind you, this was pre-internet time, beginnings of the internet. So not only were they online, they were also this was a time when if you needed to find things out, you made requests to the library. And it was the Secret Service. Thank you. It was the Secret Service. And they were making a ton of requests to talk to individuals, to request books from the Library of Congress to discover all the elements that go into making cyberpunk. And at the time, it sent off a red flag. You're discovering how to hack things. You're discovering how to robotics, computer technology, explosives, being individuals living on the edge of a society where corporate interests have taken over, and you're conducting missions in the dark of the night using cyber technology to hack into places and kidnap people and stuff. Yeah, it was a little bit. It sent off a bunch of red flags for the Secret Service. So the Secret Service actually confiscated a ton of their materials, their computers and everything. The book was eventually released. I do have a copy of it. And there's a foreword in the book talking about that. Yeah, thanks, Tesla Ranger. Tesla Ranger popped in the link into the Discord over at Fantasy Grounds College, and popped in the link to the Discord. So please check that out and check that story out. Yeah, that was a big deal at the time. As a matter of fact, Tom Clancy came upon that problem with the Secret Service quite a bit. Of course, you guys, if you don't know, Tom Clancy was both a fiction and nonfiction writer, and much of his nonfiction work dealt with him doing a lot of writing for his fictional work when it comes like Hunt for Red October and such. And since he was a military historian, he would look up declassified documents and extrapolate from declassified documents. And he was so good at his research that he would come eerily close to the real thing that was secret from analyzing declassified documents in the public sector. So Tom Clancy had dealt with the Secret Service and having his things confiscated quite a bit. As a matter of fact, the book, the one about the atomic or nuclear weapon that was found. You guys know it. Please. Ben Affleck was one of the played the character. Please tell me what movie that was. But anyway, that movie was based on the book, and I read the book about the discovery of the nuclear weapon, and in that book, it has a disclaimer that certain sections were taken out because in the book he describes how to make a nuclear weapon. And I kind of agree in a way, like maybe you shouldn't tell people how to make their own nuclear weapon. But yeah, he discovered exactly how to make a nuclear weapon. And there were little chapters here and there talking about, what kind of uranium you needed and the explosive, the perfectly spherical explosives that you need to put around the nuclear material so that it explodes inwards to make it explode outwards and stuff. Was really weird. Rickard says the Cult of the Dead Cow Hacking Collective. Yeah. Well, was Dead Cow? Was Dead Cow their adult, Steve Jackson's adult production publication arm? Can't remember. Anyway, Rick said, I would have loved to see what kind of system they had come up with. Might have been quite a nice take on hacking in a tabletop RPG. Yeah, they weren't able to actually write it out, but they tried to be as close to current days hacking as opposed to the cyberpunk interface version, plugging in your brain and doing it in 3 dimensions. It was putting there. All right, Chernobyl. Rickard says, no, the Dead Cow is a real hacking collective. I did not know that. I hope they know. Hope they're not associating us with them by us saying it. Oh man, or was not sure if they're still around. I bet there's elements that are still around. Maybe not really active, but they might be still around. Infinite says it's easy to make a nuke. Get a job as a manager in a power plant and hire inept staff. Yeah. Watch the. I'll just say this: watch the miniseries Chernobyl. I understand there are individuals out there who have lived it, right? Either as children today or whatever. Of course, we don't. It's a mini series, right? It is the dramatic portrayal of the things that happened. So yeah, did they take liberties? Anytime you take a story and film it, there are liberties, but very well done. Kind of depressing, but an excellent story about the use of nuclear technology. What the big deal? We could just harness electricity from it. Well, I don't see what the big deal is. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining me live. I appreciate it very much. Of course, we go live here. We're live in the Discord over at Fantasy Grounds College, and we are a podcast now. Maybe not the best podcast in the world with just me voicing me and my opinions, but with you guys participating. But yes, it will be available on SoundCloud for those who cannot participate live, and YouTube, probably burns your data. So maybe you can download it, with your router or your Wi-Fi and just download it on your phone or something like that as well to make it easier for people to participate. So guys, thank you very much for being part of it. I will see thee later. Oh, Rickard says, could have sworn they were involved in the making of the GURPS book, but seems I was wrong. According to the link, Lloyd Blankenship was the main hacker writer. Really? I remember Lloyd. I remember the name Lloyd Blankenship, but I don't remember all the details. And I'll look it up after we're going. So, guys, thank you very much for participating. I will see thee later. I will be going live, and I'm unmuting you guys in the Discord in just a moment. Thank you. All right.